Are we on the air, Jan? Wow, it looks. I
Uh,
see the red light flashing, so I think we're on the air.
hey, we must be on the air because we're not on the ground anymore, is what they say. Hey, right. So welcome everybody to the SoundBroker Mastermind Roundtable, where we share information about what we're all doing to survive these tough times in a lighthearted manner. Because why not? Everyone else will be serious about it. We'll be as serious as we can. Just remember the disclaimer is what I tell you is that although what we say we believe to be true, it may not be true. And so everyone who says anything, it's their own opinion. And so you must do your own research to check to see whether it is correct. So there you go. And with that, welcome. So today we're going to talk about a few things. One of the things that we're going to introduce today is the joke of the week. So get your jokes ready. That's it. And if you don't have them, I got enough for everybody. All right. So don't worry about it. Now, the most important thing of anything is to remember to share this with your friends. We're streaming live on YouTube. We're streaming live on Facebook. We might or may not be able to see your comments on that, but remember to give it the like. And if you're in the panel and you want to share it with yourself, make sure you tag yourself. And that's about it for the housekeeping thing. Remember the mute button and the unmute button. And so, hey, how is everybody this week? Who's got something that they want to share that's, we'll just say, hey, what's going on? I think Eric has got something he wants to share. So let's bring Eric right on, and let's get this show on the road.
Well, I've learned some interesting new things regarding the venue grants. And when I say I've learned them, this is information that I've heard. And just as you put in a disclaimer, I'll put out the same disclaimer. But miraculously, my accountant of many years today remembered that he has a friend who is a direct SBA lender and said, why don't you talk to this guy? Because I talked to him and he thinks he knows a way to deal with non-venues getting part of the SVOG grant money. Had a long talk with this guy today, and it turns out that every Tuesday, the direct lenders have a conference call with the state heads of the SBA. And there appears to be a little bit of muttering about expanding the shuttered venue grant to include other parts of the live event ecosystem. But the salient point that he brought up is, for one, is I'm going to send him tonight a bullet point list of all of the many things we've talked about here and beyond as to why we should be part of the venue grant. This is not to take away from venues. This is simply to be in the same arena, if you'll pardon the expression, with the venues, since we're all in the same business. But the one comment that he made is when it opens for public review, so the one thing that will get the SBA's attention goes, if we can come up with a campaign between this group here, we make events, live event commission or coalition, and we can just flood them with emails, we will get their attention. It can't be 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000. We need to get them hundreds and hundreds of thousands of emails. So, I mean, I don't know who would take the lead or how we would organize this, but as long as we have them ready and we know when the review period, there is a 30-day review period for the interim final rule. And the moment that opens up, if we can take a couple of days and just pound the crap out of the SBA's email, we're going to get some attention. And basically, they have to be inspired enough by commonality of comments to then take this up in their upper echelon committee and realize they need to do something about it. So that's really the point of all this, is we all need to be prepared to write, write intelligibly, write logically, but most important is to write frequently. It can't be one email. Well, that's all you can do. That's all you can do. But this needs to be an organized campaign of emails. So if anybody has suggestions on, who it could be that could organize this, so it's not just one organization. It's all, and many of us are in multiple organizations. We need to get this going. So I mean, it could be in a day that the interim final rule is published, and we have a 30-day period. It could be a week or 2 weeks, but we need to get on that really, really quickly. So that's my 2 cents for the day. That is the only thing we have that is likely to provide us a leg up in terms of getting in to some relief on this package.
Actually, Eric, I would say that's more than 2 cents. That's 5 cents, and I'll give you some change later.
But is it a grant? But is the 5 cents a grant, or do I owe it back to you?
you're gonna have to pay it back, and with interest too, as a matter of fact. And
Come on, you can forgive it. You can forgive it, Jan.
In this case, I would, but I will recommend Michael Strickland. He's the guy. Michael Strickland. That's it. By the way, let me just read this really quickly. This is what he says about the stage thing. Venues at which live venue operators or promoter, theatrical producer, or live events, performing arts organization, operator promotes, produces, manages, or hosts events described in paragraph 3A, or the artist, entertainer, represented, or managed by talent representative, perform, have the following characteristics, blah, 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 blah. I don't even know why I read that. All right, forget it. All right. If you want it, I'll send it to you. But also, I also do have that list of senators that Michael Strickland sent us. So if anybody needs it, just send us an email. You know how to reach us, or on Facebook or whatever, and we will make sure that you get the list of senators so you could write to their chief of staff as well. Okay, so we have that.
Jan, do you have a list that's more current than January 20th?
I don't know, but I'm guarantee you we'll get one if it isn't, if it's not updated.
I have the same. I think I have the same one you're referring to, but obviously it was pre-inauguration, so it's not going to be 100% accurate anymore.
All right. Well, then everybody just write Mike Brown instead of me, and he'd be happy to answer.
Dan at soundbroker.com. JAN.
So, all right. Who wants to say something about the SVOG?
So I'd like to say that the second round of PPP had a line that if you had received anything, or if you were going to receive anything from Save the Stages or whatever, that you would be disqualified from getting the PPP. So if you've already gotten the second round of PPP, you can't do this as it stands right now.
That's very true. By the way, I just received my second round of PPP. And as you might know, I've been fighting with Bank of America now for 140 days because they took $26,000 out of my account, closed all my accounts, told me that I had committed fraud, and I've been fighting with them ever since. And 140 days. And finally, I got a call from this guy from the PPP loan forgiveness. I'm not going to get into all the details of it. But the reality is that after 3 weeks of talking to this super senior guy over it, an executive vice president on Sunday made a decision not only to refund my $26,000, but they're going to reinstate my bank accounts at Bank of America. And I'm going to auction these off now. These bank accounts are available for you if you want, because I know I am not going to use them. But the PPP, there's a company called dayspring.org. Now, it's not good for every state, but they do have some amazing resources up there that you will be able to read anything you need to know about how to apply for a PPP and what you need to provide them to get the first round of funding. And one more thing I will say, the bigger banks are not always as reliable as the smaller regional banks and local banks. So you might want to look into that as well. So who else has something they want to say about that? Oh, sorry. I didn't know I was here alone. Anyway, Jeremy, you got your finger up, or you want to say something?
I was fixing my ears, but I will go ahead and let people know the small business grant. If you're in California, I'll find the link and put it in the chat, but that's most definitely something to take advantage of too. I think it's for like a sole proprietor, I think you can get like $15,000 to $25,000 in a grant for a small business.
It starts at 5,000. Were you able to cash in on that, Jeremy?
I think I'm in the final approval process. But it's just like everything else right now. The communication between you and the lender and that sort of thing is a little scarce.
I applied for that when it first was available, and they said we're moving you to the second wave or the second application process. And so I feel like they're just going, no, we're not going to take this guy. But I only asked for the minimum, which was what, 5,000, I think. And I thought, let's give it a try. It's worth a try. Can't get it if you don't try. So they moved me to the second application process, and hopefully I get approved. We'll see.
Good luck.
That's good. Now, who else has applied? Has anybody else applied? Have anything they want to say about any grants, EDIL, the town square loans, community loans? Anybody have anything at all that they want to share with us as a group? Anybody? Okay, we're moving on. Sorry, I was just dozing off. This is a great place to doze off. Anyway,
Try a joke. Try a joke there, boss.
no, we're not ready for the joke. We're not
Not ready for the joke yet. Not even just an interstitial joke. Come on.
I've got this joke scripted out. It's going to be great.
Oh my God.
Anyway, all right. So the office of the Congressional Budget Office came out with their annual reports. They do it biannually, twice a year. That's why they call it biannual. I think biannual is every 2 years. So they must call it something. They maybe call it semi-annual report. But anyway, they're projecting right now that the economy, we lost a year and a half of our GDP on the economy. And they're saying that unemployment won't come back till 2024, which is horrendous. It's a terrible thing, you know, but somebody called me today is Muffy in the room? I can't see if she's in the room. I know she said she was going to try to get here. But basically she said to me, look, I have a need for somebody to do a job for me, and I couldn't find anybody that wanted to do it. She didn't really know how to do it, go about it, whatever. And we started talking, and I think what we're going to do on SoundBroker is, if you're in the sound of my voice, I am going to start a category for employment, where if you are looking for somebody or you have a job available, we will list it for you for free. You'll do it all yourself. We won't have anything to do with it. There'll be no fees whatsoever. So if anybody wants to use it, I'll make it free to you without having a VIP membership. So that's something that we're going to start. And I'm going to have anybody who wants to help involved in that. So if you're looking for work, we're going to start an employment section over there, which will be free to everybody just to use. So that's what we'll do. And anybody else have any ideas along those lines of what they want to do? Anybody have any jobs opening right now? Anybody following LinkedIn to see all the jobs that they have offering? Anybody want to talk about that? Nobody's hiring, hey? All right, very good.
Well,
All right,
live events are down for the count. You know, live events are not happening, right? So there's no live event related work to speak of, right? And just the occasional you hear about, oh, somebody is doing something, but it's so rare.
Well, that's not necessarily true all over the country, because they're opening up again. And as far as our stage business, our mobile stage business is going, I should bring some more people in with mobile stages, but they're renting them out all the time, especially in Florida. And now Broadway is planning on coming back outdoors. And so that's about to happen as well. And so has anybody experienced any
here in Vegas?
What was that?
The Scorpions, they announced dates here in Vegas.
Okay.
Scorpions, as in the heavy metal group?
Yep, Scorpions with Queensryche opening for them. Announced their residency at the Zappos Theater at Planet Hollywood beginning May 8th, with shows every 2 or 3 nights.
And you think that's going to happen, Mike?
Hell yeah.
Really? Why is that? Because the Scorpions?
No, because our governor has watched Gavin Newsom twist in the wind and does not want any similar fate to befall him. So I would say, you know, our current, what we're calling the pause, where he extended the pullback of opening, that expires on Valentine's Day. He might do another 2 weeks after that, but he's not going to go into March or April. Our school district has already put kids back in school, and they're shooting to do more kids. Well, that's not great. And they're planning
more kids.
More kids.
Shooting more kids. There's not enough kids being shot these days. What are you talking about?
Talk to that congresswoman.
More kids in April. So, well, I think once the doors open, there's no reclosing it. Lyle Lovett announced dates too at the whatever arena at Buffalo Bills at Prim. He's doing a concert, I think, in June. Tickets go on sale in
Prim. How interesting. Well, so because I have a vested interest in talking about Vegas gigs, because I have a gig in that usually or used to work in Vegas, so every other week or so, And last we heard was we might get started again in June.
Yeah, no, Caesars is going for early May. And so what I think will happen is then MGM.
What do you mean going for? What?
Yeah.
What?
May
What
9th.
Caesars? With who? With some big name?
Caesars owns Planet Hollywood.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah. So if they're going for May 9th, I guarantee you MGM's going to be like, well, we're not going to let you take all the entertainment dollars. We'll go May 7th with whatever, Absinthe or something, right? And like I said, once the doors open, there's no stopping it.
Yeah.
I wonder.
My whole belief system is that as soon as people can get out there to do shows and watch shows, they will be out there for shows. And that's all there is to
Yeah,
it.
as long as it's safe. I think the people, the general, say the masses, are not going to do it until it's considered safe. You know.
I am assuming, I haven't looked at ticket sales yet for Scorpions. You know, I'm dying to go see the Scorpions. Not really, but I'm assuming there's still going to be some sort of distancing and masks and stuff. It's not going to be, you know, all 3,000 people or 7,000 people at the Zappos Theater. I'm assuming it's going to be a limited audience, and I assume everywhere else will be as well. But I think that's the thing. People are going to say, look, you know, by then we'll have at least 3 vaccines going, probably 4, right? A bunch of people will have been vaccinated. A bunch of people will already have had it, and there'll still be some sort of distancing and mask. I think some people are going to say, screw it, I'll take my chances.
What do you think the chances are that in order to go into one of those gigs, you have to show proof of vaccination?
They haven't announced that yet, and I would think they would announce that as part of the announcement of the residency. But again, I haven't gone to Ticketmaster to check.
Well, you know, Ken,
Well,
I
before
watched.
we talk about,
I watched the Charlotte Hornets play the Miami Heat 2 nights ago, and they were doing it as a audience in there, and they were using the COVID dog sniffing dogs to gain entry. But what I found that was interesting that I noticed when they were shooting some of the fans in the stands is they have gone through, and every seat that's not sold, they have put a zip cable around the seat so that you can't open the chair. So they literally physically blocked the chairs off so that you couldn't use them, so they could force their spacing within the stadium.
And we all saw what happened to courtside Karen when she pulled her mask down.
yeah.
What happened? I didn't see that.
There was a heckler at the Lakers Atlanta game 2 nights ago. And they got into a discussion with one LeBron James, and the NBA and the lady that her nickname is now Courtside Karen, because she was literally sitting courtside. She pulled her mask down to yell at LeBron. And once she did that, the refs saw it, stopped play, called out the head NBA security official that's at every game. They talked for a minute. He walked, pointed at them. By then, ushers had come, and he just pointed at them and just out. And
Well, I think
With,
that's a
off
smart
with their
idea.
heads, huh? So she got
Well-
excommunicated right then, huh?
Well, to go back just a little bit and talking about Queensryche and the Scorpions. So there were these two these 2 windmills standing there talking, and one guy says to the other, he says, hey, what's your favorite music? And the other windmill says, well, I'm a big metal fan. There you go. That's for the Scorpions. And so he's a big metal fan. There you have it.
Get it? Get it?
All right, now.
Yeah, okay.
I thought you
Now
said
that-
you were going to tell jokes.
Yeah, well, I said it's joke of the day week. Okay, so now seriously thinking here, because one of the things that's really, really important for us, as everybody will agree, is vaccination and testing. And now I just read just the other day, there's a company called Elam. I believe that's the name of it, Elam. And we have, I think we have a link for that as well that we'll throw into it. But the FDA just authorized the first in-home over-the-counter COVID test. An Australian digital diagnostic company called Elam, and they're going to have 3 million of them. It's going to be $30. It works with your cell phone, and you'll be able to home test yourself instantaneously. And as they develop that, more and more people will be able to have it, so that when you get to shows and events, instantaneous 15-minute test, it's probably even going to be even less than that. So
Wow,
has
Dave,
anybody else
listen,
heard
hold
about
on
that?
a second, Jan. Just hold on one second. We have we thought we had royalty earlier. Now we have Dave Judy in the flesh in our room. Hi, Dave. Long time no see. How are you?
I'm excellent, man. Good to see you guys.
Great to see you. Thanks for dropping by. Wow. And then
Glad I
on my
dropped
screen,
by.
I got Richard, and Dave right next to each other.
Nice.
Hi, Dave.
Yeah,
Hey.
buddies.
Well, let's show everybody what you're looking at. There you go. Hey, look at that. Hey, what a
Sure.
beautiful group of people. You know, I think we might have maybe in a week from now, we'll have the beauty contest as well. You know, I think we might win that one as well. You know, we got one person here, not a hair out of his place. Of course, he's bald, but it doesn't matter. He's not out of place. All right, that's good. So anyway, so the FDA, so what do you guys think about what's going on? Has anybody heard anything new regarding testing or vaccines or anything else like that you want to share?
I heard there continues to be a shortage of vaccine. I can't get vaccinated in Ventura County, even though, you know, people with the same age group in LA County can get vaccinated.
Yeah.
So
Well,
they
they just
say.
announced that. Yeah, somebody else. Bruce.
They supposedly a few days ago opened up for 65 and over, which I officially am. But you know what? When you log in or you talk to them on the phone, you get put on hold for 5 hours, and the website freezes up. So, you know, unless you have
Oh,
an in,
really?
unless
But
you
I-
have an
I
in,
haven't-
it ain't gonna happen.
No kidding. You got to be somebody, huh? You got
I
to be
guess.
connected to get your
Yeah.
vaccine. Oh, wow. How about that?
Yeah.
Well, just tell them that you're part of the SoundBroker Mastermind Roundtable. They'll let you right in and move you right
There
to the
you
front
go.
of the line.
And now they're talking about, which you guys probably know, they're talking about sending it out to the pharmacies now, you know, CVS and all that sort of thing, which probably is a good idea since people get their flu vaccines there, you know.
I
Yeah.
will say, really, that whole, I don't know if you guys saw the story where the Chick-fil-A manager helped the drive-through site because they were having trouble managing traffic and stuff because, you know, obviously it's not what nurses and doctors do. But then it dawned on me. I was like, if you just send the vaccine to McDonald's and Chick-fil-A and Burger King and Subway, everybody, it'll be distributed nationwide to tens of thousands of locations, all of which have refrigeration, by the way. And people, you just say, hey, come in and get your vaccine, and you'll get a coupon for a free order of fries with your order. And people will.
Yeah, but
Done.
I don't want
Done in
I don't
like
want
2 weeks.
Jim.
The whole
I don't want
country.
I don't want the same kid that's making my sandwich giving me a shot. Come on.
No.
Hey,
We'll have
hey,
nurses
hey.
and doctors there. But
Hey, no, it'll be the store manager. It'll be the store manager. Really, I think it's a great idea. You know,
And I work at McDonald's, so it's all good.
what could go wrong with something like that? I can't think of anything.
Nothing.
That would be
I
perfect.
can't think of anything. Yeah.
I mean,
You know?
Amazon says they want to be in charge. And again,
I
on the
think
distribution side,
I think that Tyson Foods. Now, speaking of Tyson Foods,
Mhm.
they have volunteered their refrigerated trucks to help with the distribution of the vaccine, and that's a fact. But I think it would be a great idea if Tyson's Foods could make some sort of chicken McNugget thing where the vaccine is in the chicken McNugget and you just order it and boom, you're eating a chicken McNugget or a hamburger, or a side of fries, whatever.
And next
But the
thing you
next
know, you're vaccinated.
The
Yeah.
heat kills the vaccine.
is that special sauce then? Would that officially qualify as special sauce?
I guess it would, but the reality is that, I mean, I guess there's got to be somebody that's going to come up with that idea and do it. It's a brilliant idea. If only I would have thought it myself, but I didn't. Anyway, but seriously, Moderna and Pfizer, they made a deal to provide another 400 million doses to the United States. And then there's a company called Novavax, and they have one like Johnson & Johnson, and they are set up to produce 2 billion doses per year as soon as they get approved. So there should be plenty of vaccine around.
Fred has a point.
I was just going to say, I'm going for my second shot tonight, and the Fry's food stores around here that have pharmacies in them are giving shots. And there's been 2 or 3 other large places like the fairgrounds, the baseball stadium over in Tempe, have all opened up and doing what they're doing at the football stadium where I'm going tonight.
That's cool. So I guess by show of hands, or who else in the room has gotten a vaccination? Has anybody here been vaccinated? David?
Yeah,
John, you got vaccinated as well?
I have 2 weeks for my second shot. Valentine's Day.
That's
I'm
cool.
part of our CERT, our citizens community response team that's been vetted. I'm a region captain, vetted through our fire department and through the police department. So I was in the first responder. I had my first one. The second one I'll get next weekend.
That's good. That's really good.
It's
See,
good, but
more
I'm
and
going to
more
have to work.
people-
They're probably going to call us out to do traffic direction as they start doing more widespread vaccinating in our area.
Yeah, more and more people now are getting vaccinated, as we can see in this room. I think Michael Scher is in the room. I believe he was vaccinated, or he's going. Michael, could you talk about that? How is it going? Because he's in New York, and I think that they've just reduced the age limit for New York, but the snow is keeping people from getting vaccinated, from what I understand. And also, if I read correctly, now they're going to distribute it to the Walmarts, the Walgreens, the CVCs, all of the pharmacies, and plus in West Virginia, they distribute it to all the local pharmacies, not just the big national pharmacies. So I would say that the vaccination is starting to get out there, and the new administration that's just pushing it out right now is just getting started. They don't even have the money yet allocated in their budget to get it all out, which is going to be an interesting thing of what's going to happen in the next few weeks. So I really believe that our industry is dependent on enough people getting vaccinated so that we can all get back into public, right? Wouldn't we agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, at one point, I remember hearing Bill Gates talk about how we don't even need to be like 90% vaccinated in order to get herd immunity. You could get herd immunity from COVID for something like 70% of the population being vaccinated. And he thought that was a really good thing. And so we just need to get 70% of the population vaccinated.
I can't believe it. Can't we just go one show without talking about Bill Gates? Unbelievable. I mean, really. What's
the matter? You're jealous. You're jealous, huh?
Hey,
Yeah, Bill Gates.
So far, we haven't mentioned Tim Cook. Oh, crap.
Who? Tim Cook.
Tim Cook, the guy that's going to take down Facebook.
Yes.
Hey. Yes. Well, basically, Apple's had a record quarter last year, like billions and billions of dollars. And if we're going to speak about Apple, we got to speak about Elon Musk, the elephant in the room, really. I'm not Elon Musk. I'm talking about Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos is now
quit.
just stepped
He's a
down.
Quitter. Yeah, he quit.
He has no work ethic anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I heard? That 4 out of 5 Americans have an Amazon Prime account. Now, I've got one. Is there anybody in the room that doesn't have one? Josh, what? How could you live without an Amazon Prime account, man? I'm telling you, they have such amazing stuff on there. I mean, it's like if I get, I'll tell you something. I wasn't going to show this till later, but I got to show you this right now. This is just a plexiglass container. Let me make my screen a little bigger here. And this is something that has nothing to do. This has nothing to do with our industry, but it might. So it's a Tupperware container, right? But I lost the lid. And Amazon has these stretch lids that go over the container. Live. Look at this demonstration. And now the lid. And what the most amazing thing about this is that you just push it a little bit, right? And as you push it, the air gets out through the side, and now it becomes a sealed lid. Food storage at its best. So maybe they could use that to help in with the vaccination as well. They can put the vaccination in these little containers and then vacuum seal it. Ken Porter.
The other thing is that I was dealing with a refrigerant guy for one of my properties, but anyway, he was saying that he's been buried by the Amazon and he's pretty much booked up the rest of the month with them doing freezer updates and stuff there. And my question is Is Amazon doing distribution of stuff, or is that just something else to do with Whole Foods that they're doing? So
Mike Brown, even if you don't know, you sound believable. So say something.
I find that to be an interesting rumor, because I know that not everything that, if I want to order food from Amazon, not everything comes from Whole Foods. Some of it they have in stock. But yeah, so it could be just, just general, already planned capital expense for getting our fridges up to snuff because we're growing our grocery business, or we're growing our grocery business because of COVID, so we need more refrigeration, or it could be they're into distribution.
So you want the Amazon guy to come stick you?
No, but you got to admit, when it comes to logistics, Amazon's got it figured out, right? On top of the fact that they have their own airline. I mean, so do UPS and FedEx, but UPS and FedEx do not have refrigerated storage. So certainly, if you were talking about getting the vaccine out to pharmacies, including not the chains, including local pharmacies, I would have to think you could do a lot worse than choosing Amazon as your logistics partner for that.
Now, wait, let's back up a minute. You said Amazon has their own airline? Tell me more about that. How many aircraft do they have?
Oh, I don't know. I'll look it up, but they, just like FedEx and UPS, they have their own planes.
Holy shit, I had no idea. Wow, that's amazing.
Well, how else do you think they move things around so fast? I mean, how could they possibly sell these silicone lids and get it to me in 2 days? They can't just have it all here in Las Vegas.
I thought it was like Santa Claus. It was just magic.
And they're
Although,
building.
to your point, I will say there are now, or I'm sorry, not at this very moment, but by about April, there will be 8 Amazon distribution centers in Las Vegas. 8.
And most of their distribution centers are right next to an airport, or they're regional ones. So, I mean, the one that they just built in Charlotte's less than a mile from the entry to the freight gate. So, I mean, but that's their logistics. They got tired of paying UPS and FedEx for flying their material around about 6 years ago.
Yeah. And by the way, FedEx is already distributing the government is using FedEx to distribute the vaccine right now, because they do have refrigerated trucks. So FedEx is got a huge commercial shipping aspect to them, not just packages and letters, but they do do pallet loads. And I mean, I've shipped consoles with them and speaker systems. So FedEx does have a complete logistics of commercial trucking.
The government split the country up between FedEx and UPS when this all first started. So they both have the same facilities.
So what do you think? Do you think they're continuing the same plans that they started because the administration changed? Do you think that like that same guy is in charge of distribution of vaccines, or is it new, people in charge of that?
What plan?
There's a new sheriff in town.
What was it called? What was the name? What was the name of the? It was something with
the big
super
binder
duper rap.
that was full of blank paper.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, the plan with how to distribute the vaccine quickly.
Yeah,
it had to do with what was the name of that plan? There was a name that they had for it.
If they had a name, from everything I've read, there was no plan.
What was the name?
Quick flow, rapid flow,
something fast. What was it?
Warp speed.
Operation Warp Speed was and there was some general or something in charge of the distribution of the vaccine. Is that totally wiped out and that's no longer happening?
There's a whole new regime. There's a new sheriff in town. I forgot her name offhand, but now there's a woman running the CDC, and Anthony Fauci's now involved. And there's a whole big change. I mean, right now they're doing what they can, but the whole idea of getting this distribution and getting money to the states all has to do with Congress and the budget. And that's what they're talking about right now. The difference between whether they're going to run it through the Senate and have them vote on it and possibly filibuster on it, or to do what they call a resolution, where they're going to just push it through as a budgetary thing. So we're waiting to see on that. But yeah, the Trump administration is gone, the Biden administration in, so everybody at the top has changed places. The only people that are still the same are those people that are government employees that still have their jobs.
Well, there's one other factor here. FEMA is now involved. They were not involved before January 20th. And, they're reimbursing the states now for their costs. They're getting involved in logistics. So it's a new ball game.
Yeah, and I saw FEMA actually has officially requested 20,000 National Guard troops to help with vaccine sites. So now the National Guard will actually get involved, and the Pentagon. And granted, the Pentagon's pretty good at logistics too. They're going to get behind the ball now too. And before they weren't, which I never understood. Well, I mean, I do understand why, but it was just stupid.
Yeah. Well, as I see the brightness of what's about to happen, as long as people really seriously take the vaccine seriously and they start getting, but now they say that the people that are spreading it, the biggest spreaders now are between 20 and 49. They say that those people are spreading it more than anyone else. And now they're trying to say, well, maybe we can't just do the vaccinations for people that are 70 or 65. We got to get these younger people vaccinated as well, so they don't spread the COVID. And as we all know, the COVID is changing rapidly into different strains, like the English strain, the South African strain, the Brazilian strain, all of that. So we really got to get the show on the road here as far as getting, and that is a live sound expression, by the way, the show on the road. I just want you to know that. This ties back into what we do, getting the show on the road. It just happens to coordinate with what other people are saying, but that's what we need to do. We need to, and who better than IATSE to help get this going on as well. But I wasn't able to reach anybody at IATSE to come up on the show to talk about what they're doing and how they volunteer their services to get it out there. But I do know that all these centers that are being built, they are using the same crews that would build our stages. And that's a really good thing. So there are people, getting work in our industry as well. And speaking of getting work, on a good news basis, Sweetwater, dealing with, if you look at Michael, he's got 3 guitars hanging up, and so many people that have been home ridden right now are buying musical instruments and playing, that Sweetwater increased their revenue by a huge percentage and upgraded their database by about 500,000 people in the last year. So that there is hope. I mean, there is a lot of hope out there, So who's got some other good news? Somebody in the room got some good news they want to share? Anybody that's got, we've had some people in the room that we've never had before. We've got Brian Gilpin in the room, and Brian was telling me something earlier. Brian, say hello to everybody and tell me, what is it you need from us?
I'm just listening.
Just remember what my friend John F. Kennedy used to say, before you proceed.
I'm just listening. I'm looking at Eric Todd, the first time I've ever seen his hair, and first time I've ever met him other than lots of phone conversations and lots of texts. So I'm just hanging out listening to you guys.
Now, didn't you say you have some need for something to me earlier?
Well, yeah, we're looking for another mobile. We're hiring right now. We are surprisingly I don't know how everybody else is doing. We are absolutely buried with work. I'm working 14 and 16-hour days and trying to hire an additional admin assistant along with 3 more full-time employees, and we're looking for another mobile. So
that's great.
Where are you located, Brian?
Eastern Pennsylvania.
Is it snowing there now?
It's not. We had about 12, 13 inches, and it was about 41 degrees today. So we plowed it and everything's dry.
Mm-hmm. That's good. So that's really cool. So you're looking for somebody out there, and that's good. What's going on? What's going on in Nashville, Ken? What's happening over there? What's our reporter on the street from Nashville, Ken Porter? What's going on?
Just waiting for time to say, let's start. Although we saw that they canceled Coachella, and now they canceled the rodeo, even though if they rescheduled it to May this year. So, but everybody's still trudging on toward when we can start and go do something and getting bored. But coming back to a question earlier, was talking about, the bands starting up in Vegas would those bands sell out even if they weren't, would the venues sell out even if there wasn't that caliber of band? They could do a tribute band or something there. I think you're going to see people are so desperate for entertainment that it doesn't matter if it's an A act or a B or C type act.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, the Zappos Theater at Planet Hollywood, I haven't been in there in years and years and years. If it's the same configuration as it was back when it was the Aladdin Theater for the Performing Arts, it seats about 7,100. Pretty good sounding room. And it would, back in the day, sell out for a B plus or better act. As a matter of fact, I saw Tom Petty there once do a kind of a secret show kind of thing. That wasn't so secret, but it was very small, intimate, almost acoustic kind of thing. But also you got to remember that part in Vegas, why certain acts get chosen is based on what they cost. You can take somebody like the Scorpions and give away half your seats to players, people who are gambling. And you'll still break even or maybe even do a little bit better based on the other half of the seats actually being purchased, being sold to the general public. So some of that goes into play too as to why you choose certain artists. And then I'm also sure there's artists right now who are like, no, we won't work till next year. Whereas other artists who maybe missed a mortgage payment or two might be a little more excited to go back to work and do it sooner.
So, Mike, they had for a while there were regulations on how many people were allowed in venues in Vegas. I remember hearing 50 people or 250 or something.
Yeah,
are those limits still in place?
We're still at 25% or 50 people, whichever is less.
Well, 50 people in the TPA is going to look pretty sparse, right? So we're thinking those regulations. The regulations are probably going to get lifted by May is the hope, right?
Yeah. It's now it's all a play on time, I'm pretty sure.
It's like I keep going back to the vaccine, but there are going to be millions and millions and millions of doses out there. And as long as they have the distribution together, by midsummer, things should be really hopping again. That's what I'm projecting. By midsummer, we're all going to be so busy that we're not going to have time to meet every week anymore.
Let's hope. Now, let's hope.
Up by me, we have the.
Sorry, go ahead, Josh.
Up by me, we have the Ryder Cup scheduled for September, and what I've been hearing is they're looking at letting a full crowd in there by the end of September at the Ryder Cup up by me. So, I mean, they're obviously, and then one of our other festivals called Summerfest, they normally do it in like the end of June, beginning of July. They just pushed it back to September because they're hoping by then everybody's vaccinated. And they went from having it for a week and a half to 3 Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sundays in September. So instead of it being one full week in events, it's going to be broken down to 3 weekends in September. So September for me is going to be like insanely crazy.
So, Josh, refresh our memory. Where are you based?
I'm based in Wisconsin, about an hour north of Milwaukee.
Very good.
I've talked to 2 commercial real estate agents here in Vegas this week, and both of them are slammed right now with people trying to get restaurants, trying to get bars, trying to get small concert venue type spaces, so that they can get them built and remodeled and opened by April, May, because they think that's when the doors will that's when the flood will start.
Well, seriously, that's what the real estate people think. Wow, how interesting.
Well, that's who the people that want to buy real estate think. So
yeah, I mean, because we're all speculating at this point. Nobody has a crystal ball,
but they're willing to put money
tell.
on.
Yeah. For good for us. Yeah, great.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think the real estate market is there anybody in a market right now? We're all from all over the place, Canada, United States. We have some people as far away as Indonesia or in Japan. But does anybody here have a marketplace where residential real estate is not going through the roof right now? Is there any place where it's
City.
not?
New York City is pathetic. There's more real estate available now than there's been in decades, and at rock bottom prices.
Now that's commercial or residential?
No, this is residential. Not, I mean, commercial. I was just in the city last week, and I mean, for anybody who hasn't been to New York City, I mean, it's absolutely pathetic. The amount of just boarded up street level locations, or that are just dark during the day. You just can't even imagine what it's like to go on a major street where without a traffic light, you'd never get across the street. And now you don't even have to look, you just cross the street. Now you don't even have to look left or right.
Yep, LA is the same.
We're finding in Pennsylvania, it's on the residential side, it's both sides. I mean, we're finding that, like, for instance, we have houses that are $500,000 houses that are being defaulted on because people lost their jobs, lost their businesses and things like that. And you can buy those houses for $350,000. And then we also find that people list a house that's worth 500 and they get an offer of 575. So we see it both, we're seeing it both directions in Pennsylvania, in Eastern PA.
Yeah, my street's got about 18 houses on it, and probably in the last 6 months, 3 houses have sold for close to $1 million, and they went for 80,000 over their asking price.
Wow.
So mine's going on the market in August. So.
Oh, you're serious?
And where are you going to move
What
to,
are you
Bruce?
doing? Yeah, what are you doing?
Well, my wife has a house in Montrose, and we really want to live there, but she had to come here for 2 years so that we got the tax write-off correct. Because here, if I was to sell it by myself, the first $250,000 would be not taxed. And if there's 2 residents here, it's the first 500,000 if we're attached, you might say. So since she's my wife, she moved over here. So August is the 2-year mark from when we got married, when she moved in here. And so the first 500,000 is not taxed. So then we'll move over to her house, which is only 6 miles over the hill. So, but it's way less land and a lot better. The physical house is in better condition and it's a lot less to deal with. I got a lot of land here. I have horse property here and no horses anymore. So the whole thing is a huge pain in my ass now. And the city regulations for having land out here is just absolutely ridiculous. And water, I pulled up all my grass years ago because my water bill was $900 every 2 months, and now it's $200. So, it's just, I'm getting rid of all this land. So,
yeah. I tell you, your background of space, it reminds me of those that claustrophobic astronaut that just needed to get some space. That's it. He just couldn't handle it. He had to get some space. So
it's the Prometheus.
Yes. Anyway, so Fred, you're in Arizona. What's the real estate market like there?
I haven't really been paying attention to I know that where our summer home is on Orcas Island. It's up northwest of Seattle in the San Juan Islands. The prices up there are going through the roof. So,
no kidding.
Yeah.
So you have a house on Orcas Island. Do you rent it out when you're not there?
No.
Is that refresh my memory? Is that reachable by ferry, or do you have to have your own boat?
Nope. Take the ferry, go over. It's
at
$20
once upon a time, Jan.
Boy,
was
that's a
talking
dream,
about
Fred.
an
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah, unfortunately, we with the whole thing, we haven't been up there for almost 2 years now. So
road trip.
It's time.
Orcas Island has only one stop sign and one traffic light. It's one of
Orcas Island is amazing. I mean, I think I was there then. If you told me it's very attainable, I was there. It's awesome.
Yeah, a lot of people who backpack and ride 10 speeds and stuff, they come and ride the island, and then they'll get on the ferry and go to the next island and ride the island, and they have a lot of fun.
I got to say, man, we have a fascinating group of people here. I mean, this is just amazingly fascinating. I mean, everybody in this room has got a story to tell, and I really, I loved it. I love the stories. You know, one day what I'd really like to do is hear about your origins. I'd love to know how we all got started. You know, who are we? You know, like a biographical show about how we got started and where we are today and what we're doing. Because, you know, I think that would be a really positive thing. I'll make sure that I put it on the agenda. And so, hey, Michael, what's going on in your neck of the woods? You live up in New Rochelle, right?
Well, I can tell you south and north, my son has been living in Manhattan for about 6 years. His lease is up at the end of February. He just rented a new apartment, 20% less than it was 6 months ago. I mean, the vacancy rate, as someone was saying, I apologize, but it was, it's extraordinary. You know, people don't want to be in Manhattan, and they don't have to be at the moment. And then my family also has a summer house in Massachusetts, which we rent for a couple of weeks a year. I got calls from 6 brokers, you know, in January, which never happens. People are desperate to be anywhere away from urban centers. I mean, I'm not running to rent it because I don't want people in my house, you know, with everything going on. But, you know, people are fleeing urban areas. It's just, it's extraordinary. And I also have an office in the city. The one to talk about real estate, you know, if you read the papers, the landlords say, I just rented, you know, 100,000 square feet for what asking price. They're all full of shit. You know, the office market has imploded in New York, and who knows if it'll ever come back.
The big landlords in the city are offering 2 years. And I heard this from a commercial broker that was very active in the city. The real commercial landlords, you know, not the ones who were children at it and have one building leveraged to the hilt.
Right.
They're offering 2 years free rent for someone who will stay as a creditworthy tenant for 5 years. Think about 2 years of free Manhattan rent, because they don't want a law firm or insurance company or whoever it may be to shrink their footprint, because once they shrink it, they're never coming back. So the smart ones are making the right moves. A lot of the dopes are out there talking this nonsense, and everybody knows it's not true.
Well, I happen to be a real estate lawyer, and the one thing I'll tell you, you never used to be able to get a 5-year lease. That's the other component to this. People aren't going to take long-term leases, and the landlords know it. So, you know, it's you know, and it's a snowball. Tenants can't pay their rent, landlords can't pay their lenders. Who knows? It's not going to be a happy ending, I'll tell you that.
Let's hope for the best. Let's hope it is happy. I like happy endings, I'll tell you that. And I've gone to many places where I've gotten a happy ending. But we're not ready to end the show right now. But Richard Bevins, what's going on where you are? You know, I haven't heard from you today. What market are you in?
Well,
Where do you live?
I'm in Orange County, California. You know, as many people that, you know, that say everyone's leaving California, you know, Orange County, the market's really hot. I mean, I don't live in a huge town, but I looked the other day, there were 86 listings in my town, and all but 20 were under contract. So in my city, only 20 homes are for sale, where 66 are under contract. So crazy numbers. I've got a friend that his wife works out of San Diego, and as an agent, it's my dog. And she listed a house the other day. She got 100 offers on it, which is just crazy.
That is amazing. What about you, John? Where you're up in Monterey? I guess there's probably no properties available, and I mean, what's going on up there?
Well, the market seems to be pretty hot. We don't know whether it's because of the lower interest rates. I think one of the impact in the Monterey area is that a lot of people from the Bay Area have decided they want to get out of the city and have moved down here. So it's sort of surprising that the market is as hot here as it is, but it seems similar to other areas. I should think in our neighborhood, we probably have 2 houses that have been listed and sold within the last 2 months. And that's out of 180 houses in the neighborhood.
Wow.
Yeah, and
So-
it's definitely the rates. The rates are what's driving the prices up, no doubt about it. I mean, you know, the house pricing is going up, but because of the rate, your monthly payment is actually lower than it was, you know, a year ago. So that has a lot to do with it. So in my mind, it's definitely a bubble.
I think the biggest challenge here is the value of a house with good internet connections. If you got good
that's fair.
access, if you get fiber, then the price goes up.
Yeah. Dave, what about you? Dave, where are you from? Where are you living?
Me, Dave?
Dave Judy, yes.
Dave? I'm in California with the rest of the boys.
All right. So your market is going well?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, as Richard explained. So yeah, things are crazy on that front.
So what part of California,
waiting to
northern,
see.
southern, or central?
I'm in Orange County specifically. Even more specifically, I live near Disneyland. But yeah, our market's crazy, and it's interesting to hear all of, you know, the economists and, you know, reading in the paper to see, you know, they're talking bubble now. You know, when is the real estate bubble gonna burst? So everybody's sort of waiting with bated breath. I don't know. Richard, what do you think?
No, I think it's definitely a bubble. I mean, Bruce was commenting, I don't know if he's still on. Yeah, he is, about selling. Now's the time. You know, if you got a place to go or other alternatives, now's the time to make a quick buck. You know, I would, but where am I going to go? I'm going to go rent, you know, and have to move.
So, Jan, two small things. The funny side about the 3 houses on our street is people are moving to Texas. And the people that are buying the houses on our street are coming out of downtown LA and West Hollywood. Very interesting.
Yeah.
But one of my big clients that I do probably 15 shows a year for is the building associations. That's headed up by a couple of people. And when I was with them last week, the researchers said that we have they think, now of course, they think we have 2 solid good years before they start to see some kind of shift. And they're thinking it'll only be 10 to 15% shift when it shifts down. But you know, it'll take a while for interest rates to come back up too. But there still is way more people than there are houses in their world. And they're building like crazy out here. It's just unbelievable. But
Well, that's the supply and demand. The more the more the money goes up, the more they start building because of the supply and demand. Brian, what's going on in North Carolina? What's happening over there?
It's commercial wise. I just was reading an article this week that they still only got about 10 to 15% occupancy in the commercial space that everybody's commuting from home. And that's we're the banking center of the South here in Charlotte, and everybody's just doing remote work. So there was a big article on whether they think that the office space will come back into play. Ironically, here they're building apartments faster than they can build anything else. There's still a lot of housing going up, but apartments are outstripping housing construction at the moment.
So what is the consensus about the whatever you were just saying that was going to go back?
I mean, it's a mix. I mean, there are people that need to have that physical contact and stuff, but I also think that a lot of businesses are finding out now that they don't have to have these massive, expensive offices or 1 or 2 floors in a high-rise building, that they can do the work remotely. There was actually a complaint filed with the, ironically on the same story of this, there was a complaint filed with the Regulatory Commission that natural gas prices tripled between December and January. And the result of that was that they said it was a threefold effect. There was a rebate that expired, and wholesale prices had gone up a little bit, But the big thing is that everybody's working from their house. So where they would turn the heat down while they're at work, they're now in the house. So they're burning heat all day long. And we have been a little bit cooler than normal here this year. So, I mean, but I've talked to several people all over the place. Some in the corporate world said we're coming back to offices, but a lot of them are not. The business that I'm working for right now, what we would have said a year and a half ago had to be an office job, that you had to be around one of our 3 offices. Now we're hiring people from all over the United States that can do the work remotely. So I think that mindset change has shifted rapidly from this has to be an in-person job to it can be done in remote access, which I think
it's interesting, right? I wonder what the percentage is of jobs that can be done from home that used to be done only from an office. I wonder if we're talking 50% or 80%, or if it's more like 10 or 20%.
Well,
it's an interesting change to the whole, country, really.
I think the big thing with that is Adobe's DocuSign. We no longer have to go and print a 300-page report to get 2 signatures on it.
Yeah, that's
Right.
big.
But that's been around for a long time. I guess we're
not
just
like this, Kenny. This is a little bit different.
It's not been an accepted practice.
I guess that's what it is. It's been accepted now.
Yeah, up until recently, email wasn't working. It was always, it had to be a fax, but you had certain things you had to have your pen on paper, actually, and they wouldn't let you use a digital signature.
Right.
Now they will. So that has changed things. Ken Porter, what's going on in Nashville? I'm hearing that the prices out, you can't even buy a farm out there now it's ridiculous.
There's a big one here in Lebanon, a house for sale you might want to go buy is Gretchen Wilson's house. It's like got a full-fledged studio in it, and outbuilding and a bunch of other stuff sitting on about 7 acres for just 2.1 million.
That's all? So let's get 2 of them, Jan.
I think we should get a his and hers house, except I don't have a hers that go there. So it's,
why is she selling it, Ken?
I don't know. I thought I'd come up and figure out if it's her house.
Okay.
But it's
Paul, you're in. Paul Wallace, you're here from Austin. What's going on there?
Yeah, I've got a house right next door to me. It's 3,000 square feet. It's got 8 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. It's on an acre. You could pick it up for about $100,000.
Wow.
So Paul, I think you should buy that and turn it into your Zoom studio.
Yeah, if I had $100,000 laying around.
Oh, come on. Where you probably have it laying around. It's probably under the mattress.
No, you do. Yeah.
It's under the mattress, man. He won big money in People's Court, man. This guy made a fortune in People's Court.
This is no joke. This house is next door to me. I'm batting my brains out over this. I need to buy it, or I need to find a friend to buy it. It'd be a great investment. You could make all kinds of money.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
And so seriously, it's early. The asking price is 100,000. Are you serious?
Plus
Paul?
or minus around 100K. Yeah.
So what's the address so I can look it up on Zillow? I got some friends.
182 Clover Road, Cedar Creek, Texas 78612.
Idelson, you couldn't even get it. You couldn't even get a postage stamp size the dirt in your neighborhood for that.
It's got a beautiful swimming pool that I built. I built the house.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So 8 bedrooms in 3,000 square feet. Those got to be some pretty small bedrooms, like 8 by 8 or something.
Yeah, some of them are small and some of them are big. One of them's huge. There's a huge master bedroom with a closet that's the size of a normal room.
So what's that address again?
Really tiny bedrooms.
182 Clover Road, Cedar Creek, Texas.
There's going to be an auction tonight. You watch.
Yeah. I gotta look it up. Is it?
Jan,
I can't
set this up, Jan. You get commission on this thing because tomorrow afternoon it's going to be.
Hey, Chris Carlton, what's going on? What's going on where you are? Are the properties going down now that the Russians are having to go back to Russia?
No, they're building huge high rises everywhere in downtown Miami. All the old blighted areas that used to be like, Wynwood and the Garment District and everything, they're all putting up 30-floor apartment buildings and condo buildings. Where I live down in Coconut Grove, which is just a little bit south of Miami, they're turning all these little bungalows into, 3-story, 4,000-foot McMansions on small pieces of property because it's right on the bay. But it's I don't know if it has to do with foreign investment or if it's a lot of Northeastern people coming down here. This time of year, it's hard to tell because there's, it seems like a third of the license plates are from somewhere else down here right now.
Yeah,
But
a lot of people are going down there to get vaccinated, from my understanding, that you
yeah,
can get a vaccination.
they were doing that, and the way they're allowing that is if you have proof of a rental or some kind of residency, then you can be from anywhere here in the United States and get vaccinated, but you have to have like an FP&L, a power receipt or a rent receipt or something that says that you're a snowbird or you live down here. So they tightened it up a little bit.
Yeah, Brian Lonigan, what's going on up in Canada? What's happening up there?
Well, the real estate market has been climbing here for several years. I think it's tapered off a little bit in the last year.
Now tell
year
people
and a
where
half.
you are. You're in
Vancouver.
Vancouver.
I'm in Vancouver. Yeah.
Okay.
And my condo, we just got the assessment. It dropped a little bit. I have a condo downtown, and then we have a recreational property out of the city. We're like 1,200 square feet, and it just dropped down below $1 million. It was over $1 million a year ago. The assessment now is 970 or something like that.
Wow, that's amazing.
Two-story,
now
it's a 2-story, 1,200 square foot condo. So, yeah, but it's still like $1 million.
So we could all see that every neighborhood right now, all the prices of the houses are going up. They're all in demand. But now you work for the Commodore Ballroom up there, right? So what's going on with the venues? What's happening with the venues? And let's move that around throughout everywhere in the United States. What's going on with your venues? How are they surviving?
Well, we're Live Nation owned venue. Well, we don't own the venue, we lease it, but we're a Live Nation venue, so there's obviously some deep pockets there to keep things going. But a whole lot of people got laid off. I'm lucky to still be, on. I'm getting the government wage subsidy, so I've reduced salary to stay on, and we're just riding it out to, hopefully we'll be operational in the summer. I would say by September for sure. There's also talk that we might become a vaccination site because we're right downtown, and we're a pretty large sized club, so we could be a vaccination site for that area. But there's no, we did some live stream events from inside the ballroom, but we can't do any shows.
Yeah.
Vaccination wise, up here in Canada, we're a little bit behind, you guys in the UK and so on, but we're also not as big a population. So I think once those hurdles of the vaccine supply get wrapped up in the next, month or so, I think our vaccination rate will jump a lot in March and April.
So what about other venues in the area? I mean, like who's got any insight on what's happening with venues in your marketplace? So we know that the real estate's going up. What's happening with the venues?
I can tell you in Pennsylvania, I've had we do a lot of fairs and festivals, and we've had 2 very large fairs contact the governor and say, we're doing our event. We're not asking, we're doing it. And he said, well, you might not be permitted to. And he said, well, when you shut down Walmart, we'll shut down this event. And he said, well, you don't understand. Walmart sells food. That's a necessity. And he said, we have food vendors, so we will continue to do the event. So that's part of the reason that our schedule is full. I mean, we've gotten everybody back that was in 19 and 20, and anybody that canceled in 20 rolled it forward. And we're on the state level getting people that are basically just saying, we're doing it, we'll pay the fine. I had a venue that was in Maryland that said, the governor came back to him, then the mayor came back to him and said, your capacity is 700. And this was about 2 months ago. And he said, you're allowed 25 people in one section and 25 people in the other section. And I got a phone call. He said, come on over and have a beer with us. And I said, well, how busy is it? And he goes, he says, let me call you back. He says, the police just showed up. And a couple minutes later, he called me back and I said, what happened? Was it too loud? Were there noise complaints? He said, no. He says, they cited us for capacity. And I said, well, how many people did you have? And he said, 818. And I said, you're allowed 50? And he said, yeah. He said, we're allowed 50. Wrote me up for capacity, gave me a fine for $250. And I said, so what did you do? And he goes, well, how often can I fine you? And he said, anytime we come in, he goes, well, let's set it up at 4 o'clock. I'll have the check ready for you. So every day for about it might've been 5 days, it'd stop in, write them a citation, and they stopped showing up. So they're now in that section of the town, they're open. I mean, they're full capacity and open till 2 a.m.
It would seem to me that it's almost a good idea to have vaccination sites at bars and restaurants as well as
Absolutely.
festivals. You know, you go to the festival, you get your vaccine, you know, and you watch a show.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's what it is. I mean, you know, our whole lives have changed. I mean, I'd like to get an idea of what you guys are doing for Super Bowl. I mean, that's this Sunday, Super Bowl. Does anybody have any plans at all for Super Bowl? Anybody want to talk about Super Bowl? Nobody. Okay. Does anybody here know what it is? You know what that is? Super Bowl. It's a place
I
where
think that's a bunch of commercials on TV, and then there's some like halftime entertainment and stuff like that, I think. And I think they throw a ball around or something.
Yeah, something like that. I was thinking that maybe it might be an idea just to, to do a virtual Super Bowl party here. We I'll open the room and we'll play the game. It won't be broadcast on. It won't be we won't broadcast it live because we wouldn't have the rights to put out the NFL. But I'm talking to Alec Lindsay over at Office Hours as well to do something. And maybe we can if I do that, I'll let you know, and we could all watch the game and I'll broadcast the game and we could all chit chat and talk about certain things. I don't know how unruly that would get, but it's an idea that if anybody's interested, let me know. I'll let you know if I'm interested. I wonder if there's a way to broadcast this to your TV. Richard.
Yeah, so Jan, I was planning to go to Ken's house, maybe David's house. I don't have Ken's address, but I do know where David lives. So one of those two. I think David might have. I think David might have better snacks. So something tells me because Ken eats kind of healthy. He'll have carrot sticks.
Yep.
Well,
bananas, Richard.
Anybody's got
Bananas
any ideas for Super Bowl? Anybody like anybody here rooting for any of the teams? Does anybody know who's playing in the Super Bowl?
I think I heard Miley Cyrus is doing a trailer, what's that called? A pre-game show of some sort. And then The Weeknd is doing the halftime.
The Weeknd, yeah, there.
Anybody here from either Tampa or Kansas? Anyone in the room?
I'm Kansas.
Gonna take the Chiefs all day. And Weekend is there. He's Canadian.
Well, we have Tim. Tim's from Wichita. So I mean, I'm not a Kansas City Chiefs fan, but I'm not a Tom Brady fan. So I'm definitely rooting for the Chiefs.
Oh, so it's a rooting for the opposing team, whoever they are.
Exactly.
Yeah. Does anybody know who's favorite? Tina's big on football. Her cousin was a huge Super Bowl player, football player. Tina, who's favorite?
Oh, hey, Jan.
Hey, Tina. So who's favorite in the week? Who's favorite in the Super Bowl?
Isn't the Chiefs favorite?
There you go. We've heard it here.
Back-to-back Super Bowls. They won the Super Bowl last year.
But they weren't playing against Tom Brady, were they?
They're favored by like 3, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
it depends on which officiating crew shows up.
Yeah, I will let you know what we're going to do.
I think the over and under is like 56.
If we're going to stream it, everybody's got it's broadcast on television, so everybody has access to it. But I got one more topic that I want to talk about, and I'm going to start it off with the joke of the week.
Oh, now we made it to the joke of the week. Finally. Okay. All right. Tell them the joke, Jan.
I'm glad I make myself laugh.
Don't tell them that. Don't tell them that one you told me earlier.
the worst part about telling a joke is when you preface that you're telling a joke. Usually that's the hardest time to tell a joke. But anyway, so this guy goes into a library and says to the librarian, "Hey, I would like I'd like to take out a book on how to commit suicide. Do you have any of?" And the librarian says, "We do, but I can't lend it to you because you won't bring it back." And
there's a punchline in here.
You won't bring it back. Get it? You won't bring it back, And so what I'm saying is right now is that our mental health is very important, super important. And I want you to know that I really appreciate what you guys are doing by coming in and sharing not only, information, but really who you are. And it's really important that if anybody is going through a tough time right now where they need somebody to talk to, I want you to know that I am available, and I'm going to also make everyone in this room responsible for everyone else in this room as well. So that if you need to reach anybody and talk to anybody about anything, I want you to know that we are available. You could reach us on Facebook. You could reach us on YouTube. You have my address. I mean, it's easy to find me. But is there anybody here in the room? And I'll start with Brian because, he does this ADA stuff. And so, Brian, is there anything that you could think of in talking about in regards to making sure that we stay mentally fit and healthy?
I think what we're doing right here is probably a huge step toward, because it's just having conversation and talking. But I read, half a dozen stories this past week where kids are having trouble because they're just not having the social interaction. But I think the biggest therapy for any of us in this room is get out and start doing some live events, because that's where we relax and get our fill for our need. But there's no big tricks to it. It's just making sure you have a conversation, you got somebody to talk to, and stay positive.
Yeah, it's and I'm serious about this, because this is all about mindfulness, and it's also important to get exercise and keep yourself physically fit as well, and watch what you eat and get plenty of sleep and get the right kind of sleep and get the REM sleep and to socialize, because not everybody has somebody that they could talk to. And I just want to make sure, once somebody said in this room that they pay $200 an hour for a psychiatrist, they come here and they're getting more value from this than they are from going to the psychiatrist. And I think they're crazy, but that's a good thing. That's really a good thing. And I'm glad that they feel that way. And, and if you're not careful, Elon Musk has this company called Neuralink right now. I don't know if you've heard about this, but he actually implanted a chip in a monkey so that a monkey now can play ping pong on Pong on a TV screen. Has anybody heard about that as well? But of course, the idea is not to get a monkey to play Pong. It's for people who have Alzheimer's or other underlying conditions. That it's all about connecting your neurotechnology so that you can be healthier if you have a problem. He could work with eyesight. He's also implanted a chip in a pig. And I don't know what that pig can do, but I guess it's all about the goal of curing human illnesses.
They've taught the pig to sing.
That's what. Oh well, as
I
long
thought
as
you were
it's
going
not
to
a
say you
fat
taught him
lady
to
that's
fly.
singing.
Like when
That's
pigs can
next.
fly.
Yeah, Elon Musk is in what's that new app, the iOS app that everybody's raging about? He's in there every night talking.
What, TikTok?
Clubhouse.
He's on Clubhouse every night. He's got a room on Clubhouse. You can go ask him questions.
So glad I don't have an iPhone.
If Clubhouse is an interesting thing. I signed up for it not because I knew Elon Musk was in it, but it's basically just a place for people to talk. There's no video. It's just talk. And most people that I've heard that are talking in this room don't have a clue. They're talking out of their ass. They have no idea what they're saying. It's like, it's like that P.T. Barnum thing where they say,
sucker is born every day. What?
No. It's like, it's not what people know. it's what they think they know that just ain't so, that is so scary, you know? I think that's basically the quote in that. So let's go around the room. Anybody here that has anything they want to say right now that we haven't called on or that we haven't brought out? If there's anybody here that like to share something right now, just take it away.
Hey, I just unloaded a truckload of gear for the first show since March 13th, 2020.
Wow, what's the show? Tell us more, Tim.
It's an Asian variety show at a casino. It loads in actually on the 11th, but I'm down a truck because one of them decided to start throwing bearings today. So I arranged to take a truckload of gear down there a few days in advance. So my lighting guys will have room to put lights on trucks.
And what kind of venue? What kind of venue is that? I mean, are they going to have an audience?
It's a 6,800 seat arena set for 1,200 people to maintain distancing.
Interesting.
It's a two-third arena show, so if they were actually selling all the seats, they'd have room for about 5,000. So they're doing about 22% capacity.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it'll be 2 hours of music, of which I will only stand the introductions and the thank yous. Apparently, I have the reverb figured out, and they love me. So the singers do anyway.
All right.
Did they pay you in advance?
The casino's on an open account, so.
Well, there you go. So you know you'll get paid.
Yeah,
it's really cool. Congratulations! I'm so happy that somebody's got some good news that about work. Who else has got something that they want to share that they haven't that's been on their mind and they'd like to get it out? We got a room full of people. Somebody, Gabe, we haven't heard from you at all. Is there anything you want to say?
Oh, I'm just, I had a little surgery on a hernia last week. So that was good to get that done and out of the way before we're fully gigging again and back in the normal swing of things. So that was certainly a positive thing. And yeah, I don't know, just kind of coping with my workflow of work projects. I've mostly pivoted towards doing TV work over the last year. So a lot of it's not my own sales. A lot of it I'm managing projects for one of our other sales guys, but we do a lot of LED on game shows and TV shows and stuff like that. So I'm staying kind of busy with that stuff, to be honest.
Wow. Good for you, Gabe. Good to hear it.
That's great. Hey, Kurt, we haven't heard from you at all. So what do you want to share?
Just been hanging in there. I did a little gig at the new Climate Pledge Arena up here, which used to be Key Arena. Putting in the last of the beams for the new roof that they had to preserve the roof from the World's Fair. So every time they work on that arena, they dig down another 20, 30 feet, and then they have to find a way to hold the 1962 roof up. So I did a thing, little X40s on stands and 2 wireless mics, but it's a gig and it's a way in on the ground floor with all of the new people that are running the venue. So I'll take it.
That's cool.
Literally on the ground floor.
Literally on the dirt floor. They haven't even poured the concrete for the hockey ice yet.
So is that in New York? Is that the 63 World's Fair location?
Yeah, 62 World's Fair.
Seattle, yeah. The Space Needle, right?
Yeah, it's right next to the Space Needle.
So
Yeah.
they lowered the floor again. They lowered the floor again in the arena.
Yeah, they did it in the 90s when it went from Seattle Center Arena to Key Arena. They did that. And they went down, I think, 20 feet and changed the slope of the seats and all that stuff and put a whole custom shop rig in there, all kinds of stuff. And then after the Sonics left, it wasn't used for that much. But now with hockey coming back, part of the deal was that it had to be brought up to current arena standards for the NBA and NHL, I guess. So they did it again. And it's actually great because there used to be this crazy steep tunnel that you had to back a semi down. You went halfway down, then you had to turn around and you had to back down this thing. And like if a strap broke, you were going to lose your whole PA right out the back of the doors.
It was curved and then it had that drop down leveling thing that didn't
all
work.
all that's gone. And now there's like 8 loading docks. You enter a block away and they tunneled under all these historic buildings. So you have this reasonable slope now and you don't have to turn around halfway down and you can get 8 semis on the dock.
Oh boy.
So
Wow, sounds like somebody actually improved the building. Yeah, that's great.
And a great rigging grid that's all over the whole top, all, you can hang anything anywhere, basically.
Oh, that sounds great. So that's what's it called now again?
Climate Pledge Arena. Bezos.
Oh,
Bezos.
wow. Cool. So next time I go to Seattle and play Seattle at an arena, it's going to be the Climate Pledge Arena, huh?
Yeah.
Everybody that I've talked to that does install work seems to be extremely, extremely busy. What kind of work are they doing? Where is all of this work going? Does anybody have any concept of, like he just mentioned, the arena now? What else do people know about that's being renovated right now? Are any of the theaters being renovated that you know of? Anything going on like that? Anybody?
I'm doing a little bit of church stuff, not much, tiny little ones, couple speakers and a sub flown. I just did a little theater that was part of a school, but I had done the fundraiser for that exact remodel like a year ago. So they came to me and said, well, you did the show for the fundraiser, you want to put the PA in. So yeah, but a little bit of education, a little bit of church stuff, but they've been very small projects.
Well, very cool.
Yeah. So on the corporate side, Jan, I think some of these corporate campus companies are doing work because there's no employees there. So, it's a little easier to make the dust, et cetera. And then there's also been some some new needs based on, virtual events and whatnot, putting in studios they wouldn't have had the need in the past, where now they do. So I think that's part of it, but we've definitely our integration business is doing as well as it's ever done right now. So
that's good. That's good. I mean, there's some good news out there. There's some good news. There is good news, and I am really happy about that. And I really want to thank you all for coming today. We're going to have to say goodbye to the YouTube people and the Facebook people. So just remember, if you want to be part of this, just DM us through any way you can. Anyone in the room can invite you as well. So if you know that, remember to give it the thumbs up. Remember to stay healthy and happy. And, I wanted to say, for years, I've gone down a path, and it's easy to make changes. I went down this path where I was addicted. I'm telling you, I was addicted to the hokey pokey. And then one day I just turned myself around, and here I am now, happy as a clam. So
And then
remember,
along came
you
the
make it
clam
happen.
stew.
You make it happen. Stay happy and healthy, and join us next week on Wednesday, same time, same place. And for those people who want to stay in the room, we're going to keep the room open. We're going to talk about those people that are not here right now. And again, thank you so much. And remember to give it the thumbs up, and remember to stay happy and healthy. And we'll talk again real soon. And we are off the air.